Let's see here. There we go. Are you drinking tea? You got tea there?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I just made some tea. What type of tea do you have?
This is honey, apparently.
Honey tea?
Yeah.
Just, but that doesn't.
Yeah, it's I mean, it tastes like honey, but it's of course it's completely artificial.
Interesting. Yeah, I've got chamomile here.
Chamomile.
Yeah, because I can't have caffeine, and so that's why.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I am in chapter 55.
Yeah. Axi Capin 12 against you. Yeah, I wanted to go through this game first, and then we're going to do an exercise. Well, you're going to see how it relates.
Classical
I was
game.
interested. Yeah, I chose a classical game. I saw you've been playing Blitz, and you're playing faster.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah. Yesterday I beat a 2100, so that's something.
And you won some games on time, which which is great. I mean, it's a way of winning those games. That's what Blitz is about.
No, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty at all.
Of course, it's always an integral part of the game, and of course, it's much more important in Blitz and Bullet. But yeah, this is a 30-minute game. Yeah, without increment. Oh, the Torre attack. Okay, your opponent plays the Torre, and you avoid d5 for quite a long time, which is a valid strategy, but it has its own characteristics. I mean, otherwise you'll just play d5 and bishop e7 and go along with it. But c5 is usually played like this. You avoid d5 for some time.
Yeah, c5 is my repertoire move, but at my level, for whatever reason, not many people play the Torre. Like I see it maybe once every 3 months, you know. So I don't get a lot of practice with it, and I basically only know it. I only know it maybe 4 or 5 moves deep. I just don't get enough practice. But yeah, I do play c5, partly because I think it's a little bit. Again, I don't know much about this opening, but I think it's a little bit more combative, and d5. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I feel like it could get in a little bit similar to Queen's Gambit declined structures, which I totally try to avoid because I've been there, done that, and it's too boring for me. And so, yeah, that's why I play c5.
Interesting. The Torre attack is a nice alternative to the main lines in Queen's Pawn's openings. I guess it's been a little overshadowed by the London system. I guess that one got all the popularity, and Torre has been abandoned largely by people who are looking for alternatives to main lines. But it's still playable. I mean, against d5 structures, White always has this plan of going c3, knight e5, f4, just as in the London many times. And you take on d4 right now, which is okay. Well, then we're going to see what happens. c3, castles, bishop d3, all of this is quite normal. b6, castles, bishop b7, knight bd2. Okay. Both kind of finished the development, but now you have to make a decision. And you played d5, which in this structure is a bit of a decision.
I didn't want to play it. I didn't want to play it. Like I remember thinking about this, and yeah, I spent, I guess, just over a minute because I didn't want to play it because okay, we have the bishop on b7, and I know that sometimes this can open up, but I thought I think after the game I thought it will only open up if white wants to let it open up, because I don't have a c pawn to break open the center, and he doesn't have an e pawn that needs to be pushed. So I think in this game, if I remember correctly, white basically just built up this attack on my king side, brought his pieces over, and I was kind of cut off. I cut myself off by playing d5. So after the game, I kind of realized that if you're going to play like d5 here, there must be some way to break open the center eventually. But at the same time, I didn't know what else to play. I think maybe d6 and knight d7, maybe that's what I should have played instead.
Yeah, and exactly. If you play d5, it's a lot different if you have a pawn on c5 and white still has the pawn on e3. That's a completely different story. And then it's quite a valid system. Let's say, let me just go back a bit. Let's say you play like this. 3, d5, bishop d3, bishop e7, castles, castle. Knight d2, b6. Structure makes much more sense. There's a big difference. There's tension in the center, so it's not going to be so easy for him to play e4. And he doesn't have the same open file, this e file, which gives him a lot of control of e5. So it's quite hard for you to get something going. Another thing which is a bit hidden at this moment is that many times you need to have this resource, 94, to face white's attack on the king side. And it's quite hard to get 94 in when your opponent has the e file. I mean, the control over e4 is so complete for white that it's much easier for him to control e4 and bring the pieces to the attack. That's what happened. Your opponent missed some opportunities to increase his attacking chances on the king, but the presence of this pawn e3 makes it a bit harder for him. This resource is still there on many occasions. If you compare it with the structure in the game, after d5, as you say, you're cut off. I mean, now you are kind of compromised to play b5 before, which is incredibly hard. In fact, your opponent played a4 quite quickly, and he really just stopped all your attacking chances on the queen side. And this is the most important semi-open file. I mean, you don't have the resources to put pressure on the c file, and the attack is so easy to build up for white. I mean, rook e1, knight e5, queen f3, queen h3, or bishop c2 and a queen on d3. It's really hard to fight here, especially, this is a problem. With the pawn e3, knight e4 comes quite in time, a good part of the time you have that defensive resource. Now with the rook on e1, a queen on e2, this is almost always losing a pawn. Those are the main difference, I think. And this structure in particular is known and has been known for a long time, just to be bad for black. It's like you need to keep the tension and not give the semi-open file to white. And you're completely right. I mean, the point of this system you play is that you're going to refrain from playing d5. d6 is okay, and you're going for a hedgehog structure, maybe d7, d6, maybe even b5. Once your opponent plays c4 at some stage, you might consider to play d5, and maybe even after b3, he can get hanging pawns. I mean, the structure can be modified, but you need to generate some activity in the center. Otherwise, Yeah, the attack is just too strong for him. This hits also makes sense because there's no knight e5, so the space advantage for white isn't such a big deal.
So, so
all
d6
your
is
pieces
really
can
the
look
only.
square.
Sorry. So d6 is really the only move there, right? Unless possibly
There's
h6
also
and then d6.
this resource, 95, mainly because you're in this case you're making him trade, which is good for you. I mean, it's one pair of minor pieces less. Yeah, and this knight has access to f4. So yeah, maybe if the knight isn't on d2 yet, this is not such a big deal. But at this point, this is a resource to have in mind. But yeah, you're going to play these seats anyway, so you might as well play it now if this knight d5 isn't a thing. But yeah, you're basically aiming for this structure if you already it's changed on d4. The game becomes incredibly difficult after d5. Rook e1, and you played all natural moves, and you're still much worse. It's
Yeah, I know.
really
It was
hard to.
annoying. That's why I remember d5 as the characteristic issue with this game because I think white just clobbered me. He just like rolled me over. It was just like I had no chances. Like that's what it felt like anyways. If I remember it correctly.
Yeah, most of the time you are just defending. Then there comes the part where, in which I'm especially interested. um, yeah, because your opponent didn't put the game off, so there were some chances there. So h6 is okay. Bishop h4. There is a way you can force the exchange of these bishops. Typical, by the way. I mean, I'm not saying it solves all your problems, but it's sort of a relief in the context that the attack is not going to be so dangerous.
I mean, I don't believe I can play 94 because I just lose a pawn. And I mean, I think I might have played knight h7 here, maybe.
Yeah, that's what you played again.
Yeah, so I don't know of another way unless it seems suicidal though, like g5, knight h5.
Yeah, g5 is way too much, but knight h5 right now, this is a typical way of exchanging these dark square bishops because after h6, bishop h1, knight h5, if it goes back, you can take with the knight. Here I'm not saying you solved all your problems because after bishop takes, queen takes,
knight
e3.
I think I might have been scared of 95 instead of queen d3, queen e3.
Well, you're kind of threatening this knight f4.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So he probably has to play or g3. Well, I would prefer to play this instead of g3. I mean, the same problems are still there, but at least it's changed a pair of pieces, which is always good if you're going to face this attack. But notice here, after bishop h4, how important it is that he doesn't have pawn e3 and you don't have the pawn c5, because if the structure was complete with both pawns, you'll have knight e4, which is quite a natural way of its changing the bishops and stopping the attack. And now this is never an option. That's one of your. You play knight h7, and yeah, I see it as well. This is one more piece to worry about, and this one too. knight g5, and yeah, now you're looking for exchanges. Knight takes, queen takes, but yeah, this knight is
I know.
in a very strange situation. Still, your opponent wasn't quite sure of where he should be playing, but still, your attack is quite problematic. I mean, with a4 on this battery, he kind of, yeah, he deprived you of all chances of counterplay there. That's quite annoying.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is a natural plan for him?
Well, I feel like he has to attack on the king side. That just makes, he's got all of his pieces there. I mean, f4 looks like a possible move. F4, knight h7. Possibly he could trade knights instead. Knight f3. Just remove one of those defenders, one less of my pieces defending my king. I feel like... Oh, also bishop e5. It looks really good because his bishop is... It's a little misplaced here, I think. It could be doing a lot more work. Bishop e5 looks like an idea to me. And then also if he trades this bishop off, then he can start pushing these pawns and really putting the pressure on me. I think that makes bishop e5 looks like a move to me.
Bishop e5 could be an option. Yeah, bishop e5 makes sense. He plays it at some point. I'm not entirely sure he wants to solve your coordination problems because these pieces are a bit strange here. The natural way of making you assume some more weaknesses is bishop c2 and queen d3. This is quite natural setup for him. Yeah, I know you're still defending here, but it becomes a bit tough. You probably have to go all the way back to f8, for example. f4, well, I bet he doesn't want to play unless it's absolutely necessary, because then e4 is always a theme. I mean, for example, he would try to exchange here and then go knight f6. So he's always looking to have some control of e4. So he's probably going to avoid h4 for the time being. His move is, I don't know what to say about it. About h3. It doesn't do anything really. But something like bishop c2 makes a lot of sense. Bishop e5, I don't think this is a bad move, but yeah, I also think maybe he doesn't want to get so many exchanges just right now. I'm even thinking if this is not a thing. How do you intend to take back on e5?
I was thinking with the queen for sure.
With the queen, probably. Yeah. Now, yeah, we still can't play f6 and e5 because you just go back to g3 and you have control over e5. So that's not an option. Yeah, I guess you're still better. This has to be played. This maneuver is necessary, and you still keep all the advantages. You even have these ideas. Yeah, his move, and it's funny how hard this is because even h3 keeps you in trouble. Yeah, but it's a sign. I mean, he doesn't know really what to do here and how to make progress, which is good. Now there comes a strange repetition of moves. Bishop b7 again, which makes sense. I mean, the bishop is not doing anything great on f6. And now he plays knight f3, which I'm not so sure about. I mean, this plan is really hard to meet. And it's quite typical, especially when black has already played h6. It becomes worse for you because when you play g6, there are a bit too many on moves already, and g6 is really weak. For example, the sacrifices on e6 start to be possible. Yeah, queen d3 is really hard to meet. Yeah. It really looks hard. For example, let's say I make an like this, and I don't know, 94 seems like the only move, but it's also
dropping a pawn.
Yeah, this pawn is dreadful. After this, on takes queen e2, for example, and on f5 you might have this, and the pawn is just yeah. Yeah, this is too much. Yeah, and if you play g6 or something like that, then, well, these pawns are horrible. I mean, h4 knight here, rook takes, for example, looks like it's...
Oh, yeah, nasty.
Yeah, if the pawn is on h7, yeah, it's harder for white to break through, but yeah, this is a bit too much. So yeah, this battery is... It's always a good idea. I don't know why he didn't consider it.
He was playing a little quick. Like he's got 20. He only spent 5 minutes so far.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and all these moves, he just went back and forth. That's really strange. I mean, that's also bad time management. I mean, it's a 30-minute game. There's really no good reason to go back and forth without thinking it for a while. Knight f3. Well, now you take here, and you have a better option probably. That knight f3 is not the best move, probably.
I think knight e4 possibly. It's going to take him even longer to play f3 to kick it out.
Yeah, knight e4. This key resource, well, has just given you the resource. That's why in this structure, white always try to keep control of e4, because otherwise black can play that, and well, at least he has some defensive chances. But if white keeps control of e4, it's really hard for you to do something about his superiority on the king side. And knight f3, knight e4, it's true that he still has the resources in the long run to play f3, but yeah, that's probably not what he was trying to do. I mean, in the long run, trying to get rid of the knight now. Definitely, that's not his idea. And you're sure to change a couple of pieces here. If bishop h2, bishop d6, this doesn't seem so daunting anymore. But after knight takes, queen takes, the problem is that he still has this. He still has this better structure to attack on the king side, and his pieces are free to do so.
Yeah, and I only have one bishop.
Yeah, that's true. This bishop is
tall pawn.
Yeah, it's like you're going to be defending with one less piece. Bishop e5 looks okay. Bishop takes. Well, not really many options here. And yeah, this position is really hard for you. I mean, the attack on the queen side is still not there. And white's plan is really simple here. I mean, this is quite typical. Bishop c2, queen d3. He makes you play g6, and then this plan of h4 and h5 is really hard. I mean, and once you play g6 here, there are all kind of sacrifices. I mean, those pawns are much less solid than they appear, and the dark squares around your king are. But it's quite curious that your opponent never tried to make you play g6, which is great news here. He gives you time to play bishop c6, queen e2, queen d7 is fine. Well, now what do you think he should play? He plays b3, which is really ugly. I mean, now you have target 2, which certainly isn't the plan.
I think bishop c2 accomplishes two things in one. It defends a4, and I know you want this so bad. So bishop c2 makes the most sense. Yeah.
Exactly. This structure is rock solid. It's really hard for you to play b5 and b4 and put some kind of pressure on his pawns. And this is coming, and yeah, I really don't know how to defend here. It's really tough. I know b5, queen d3, g6, h4 looks quite scary already. Yeah, b3. Well, now this gives you nice prospects. b5, a5. Well, now your position has got a lot better. I mean, it's the improvement is vast. I mean, you have this target. There are many ways you can put pressure here. But here you made a move that is very weakening. You played f6. What was the idea behind that?
I wanted to weaken my light squares. I think I just felt that if I didn't try pushing him, that he's just going to very slowly, I don't know, bring in the rook and just bring in these pawns. And I thought I had to push back, basically. And I think I felt, I might have felt that this rook was a little bit without a whole lot of squares. And I know that this is weakening. Like, I was streaming the game and I probably said, like, oh, this is very weakening. It's probably not good, but I think I was just maybe I was planning f6 d5 or e5, and as I say, I think I just felt if I didn't try pushing white away now, that he was just going to very gradually just crunch in on the position. So I kind of felt like I had to push back now.
It's interesting because that was true a couple of moves ago. I mean, White was really having a nice time, just attacking without any risks. But in these last moves, especially with this b3, he weakened his queen side somewhat. Now you do have some interesting chances to attack c3. I know he can defend it, but while he defends it, the attack is not so strong. I mean, he's not completely free to do as he pleases anymore. And that's the main issue I see with this b3. Just for example, you can play queen d6 with this idea of playing b4. So you have some ways of exposing his pawns here. For example, if he goes b4, which, well, he probably has, otherwise b4 is interesting for you. Now this pawn is quite clearly weak. I mean, you can go back, play rook c8, rook c6, or c7, double up. While he still has the better chances on the king side, this is a problem for him too. I mean, you can mount up some strong pressure on that pawn, and that's going to tie him down a bit. Imagine a rook on c6 on c8 and the queen on c7. Yeah, he's not going to be free to attack you as he pleases. But yeah, the problem with f6 is that now his attacking chances can go way up in just one move. I mean, he goes back and then you sacrifice this pawn, or I don't know if it was a blunder.
That was simply a blunder. Yes.
Oh, okay. But there are many problems still because rook e1 is coming, and now e6 is weak, and this is also a plan for him. I mean, he's invading the light squares. So yeah, f6. Yeah, your sense of danger kind of dropped a bit there. That's why it's important in these situations where you are a bit tied down, and the situation is still a bit dangerous, of course, because this is still a thing. For example, I mean, and the attack is still there. Some variations have to be calculated. I mean, when you play a move like f6, you say, okay, he goes back. Then what are his threats? Rook e1 is coming. How am I going to defend this guy on e6? Then you realize e5 is going to be nearly impossible to get in. For example, if you see a variation like 7, rook a1, rook a8, which is quite natural, and then you spot this plan, yeah, you might not play f6 at all. Yeah, the attack just plays itself. Even though this is not checkmate or anything right now, it's quite close. And if he makes you play f5, then, well, that's really bad. This pawn and this square maybe are a bit too much. Yeah, so these risks have to be taken with well, some calculations. Yeah, since it's such a weakening move. After this, he still didn't play a perfect game. I mean, e5, yeah, he blunders a pawn and he gets complete control of the dark squares. So I find it a bit strange that at this point we play queen c4, c7, and he plays c4, which doesn't make sense at all. I mean, your bishop is as bad as it gets. Only you have real weaknesses, this pawn.
Yeah, that was a weird
Yeah,
move.
yeah, this is really strange. I mean, yeah, he's still playing quite quickly, but he's giving you chances again. I mean, you're still lost, of course, but thanks to this, you're sort of alive. He plays c5 here. I guess this is strong already, but c5, rook d8, queen e3, rook e8 again, check. Yeah, he's giving you plenty of chances at this point. This position is still quite fighting. His king is weak. Yeah, this is not necessarily easy for him, but yeah, here again, you make a move that sort of not takes into account his threats because your king is really weak, so you're not in no position to go after this pawn apparently. But you're short in time here. You're only 3 minutes. Yeah, you're down to 3 minutes in a classical game. It's tough already. Yeah, and rook d1. Well, it kind of makes you go back. That's really bad news if that's the case. Yeah, you took, and then there's checkmate. Yeah, this is forced checkmate in some moves. Well, an interesting game in that your opponent let you off the hook a bit. But what I find interesting about this game is that you got some defensive chances, but then you weaken your position beyond repair. And I found in your games that sometimes when you're put under some pressure, yeah, then the blunders come, which is not big news. I mean, that's the case with pretty much everyone. When we are under pressure, it's easy to make bad moves. But yeah, really the main problem is that we tend to take decisions and make decisions based on an impulse. For example, f6, If you look at the variations, I mean, you see that rook e3 and then rook e1, it's quite problematic to play f6 there.
There's a quote I heard, I only heard it once before, from a famous grandmaster. Maybe you know this quote. I forget who the grandmaster is. It might have been Roman Gingivilli. I'm not sure, but it was something like, if you play 15 perfect moves, you win. Like 15 perfect moves in a row, you win. Otherwise, I win. Because he was an attacking player, and that's a pretty good quote, because you have to defend perfectly for a long time. You gotta it's if you're defending, you have to defend perfectly and accurately, but you don't have to always attack as accurately as you have to defend.
Yeah.
Did you hear that quote before?
No.
No. I should find the source. That's a really good quote.
But it's a good one. I mean, it's true that it's really hard to defend, and calculation is even more important when you're defending, because you usually have only one way. It's not like you have many promising opportunities. I wanted to play an exercise with you.
Okay.
Analyze. It's in the lessons to study 5.
Okay.
Kotov.
Okay.
Okay. Let me switch it. Oh no, let's see it from White's perspective. I think this was in the World Championship that Botvinnik won, when Arkhan's title had to be decided after his death. And this is the only game that Botvinnik lost in that tournament, I think. You see some resemblance here.
Was this that it was like a quadruple? It was like a quadruple round robin or something.
It was a round robin. They were like 6 or 8 players, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long tournament.
But it was like it was like 4 games each or something. It was a crazy long tournament, if I remember.
It's possible. I really don't remember. Okay. I don't know if they were 2 or 4, but it was crazy long. I mean, like 20 rounds for sure. Yeah. That format is not possible anymore. You see some resemblance. Botvinnik got into a kind of tough situation. Botvinnik kind of invented this plan of f3 and e4, getting a nice pawn center. Things got a little bit off hand here. Yeah, he has no resources to push the pawns, and clearly he's struggling. I mean, rook a8 is coming, for example. His pieces are in really strange squares. Things didn't go well. He clearly had to defend here, but it's not really obvious how to do it. I mean, you're going to have to improve Botvinnik's game here. First, you need to identify Black's threats.
I was just looking if Black could do G5, knight goes somewhere, and then bishop takes H3. I was just looking at that, and then the queen comes to H2. I don't think that's enough though, because the king just goes to E1.
Yeah, it's still white to play, but it's good that you see that this is a problem for you. I mean, G5, and it's not only the sacrifice that might not be necessary. This invasion by the queen is really tough to meet.
Oh yeah, I
I
guess you could
mean,
go there right away, because then you're threatening bishop takes h2 or h3. So g5, knight d3, queen h2, threatening bishop takes h3.
yeah, and that can be coupled with a rook a8 at some point, and it's very hard.
Okay. Well, another threat here, I think, is simply c4 from black. The white's bishop is even worse, and there's no way to break that open. I guess the only way long term would be to push the a pawn for white, and that's going to take a few moves. So c4 is annoying. But then maybe... No, I was going to say maybe then white could play e4. Maybe still, though, like c4 and then maybe rook e1, e4. Still not enough pieces, though. So it's going to take him a long time to push e4, I guess. Yeah, so c4 is kind of worrying. There could be other moves.
This could also be a problem for white, especially since you can drop back to d3 with a knight. So after c4, g5 is even more of a threat. I mean, you have to go back to e2, and then the pawn on e3 is, well, pretty much falling. Yeah, it's, that's really hard to meet for white. So that's unfortunate. There are many threats to consider. So now we need to try and find some possible answers for white. Botvinnik failed, and he paid the price in, like, I don't know, 5 moves, something like that. Yeah, he resigned in 6 moves.
1946. I'm just trying to think when Botvinnik's peak was. It was the late 50s or so? Was that when he was... I don't really know.
Well, he dominated the 50s. He lost the world title match a couple of times, and he recovered it.
So he was... I'm just wondering if he was still fairly young in 1946.
Yeah, I mean, he was just getting the world championship title here, so yeah, he'll defend it a couple times.
He was born. He was born in 1911. Okay, so he was 35. Okay, during this game.
Yeah, and it was his prime. The best was still to come, I guess.
Okay, so you want me to find the good move or his blunder?
Both, and why one is good and the other one is a blunder. What ideas come to mind? What do you think are the candidates for it?
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to find anything. I'm just going to throw out my ideas, okay? D takes C4 or C5 is interesting because we can even though it splits our pawns up, we have terrible pawns. We now have access a little bit to rook d1, and we're applying a lot of pressure there. I know that black can defend it with something like bishop c6, but I think white has a bit of dynamic play there all of a sudden, and even there seems to be a lot of options there suddenly. So that's interesting, and possibly no, this wouldn't work. I think if we played rook d1, it doesn't work because again, just c4 comes. That makes no difference. But yeah, d takes c. c5 is definitely a candidate move. A5, I mean, sorry, A4 is like, I think it's a little bit slow. I think it's an idea here. A5 might come in response, but then we might have, similar to the game I played, where there's this backwards pawn that maybe we can pile up on. But I think A4 is a little slow, so I wouldn't really put too much consideration into that. Looking on the king side, that's where I don't want to look, because it's hard to come up with an idea over there.
But that's a nice intuition. I mean, this move, applying and then applying pressure on the D5 really comes into consideration when you see the alternatives. Actually, A4 was the mistake that Botvinnik made in the game. He lost in 6 moves or so. In fact, against A4, Kotot doesn't even play the strongest move, and White is still in huge trouble. The best move is one that you already pointed out, is C4, which is really accurate. If you don't have 93 as a retreat, then G5 is incredibly strong. I mean, G5, Rook A8, and the pawn is doomed, basically. For example, Rook E1, G5, 92. Yeah, then you can even play Queen H2 right now. Too many threats. I mean, all of Black's pieces are working together really fine. You're threatening Bishop H takes H3 too. Knight G1, Knight H5. This is really ugly. This is nice finish. Knight to G3, and you're threatening Knight H1.
Winning the knight, yeah.
Yeah, these pieces are just a joke, so that variation tends not to work really. But you see, when you start to pay attention to your opponent's threats, then you might discard some tries immediately. For example, you basically didn't pay a lot of attention to A4 because you already saw that this is a problem. G5 is also a problem. Rook A8, and you said it's just too slow. In fact, I don't know what's Botvinnik's idea after A4,
Yeah.
but it's clear that he kind of underestimated Black's attack somehow. In fact, followed Rook E8, Rook E1. This is still very bad for White anyway. C4, and he played G4 so that he can drop back to G2 with the knight, but in the end he didn't, and he should have. I mean, it's still horrible. You play here and win H2. It's just tough for White, but at least it's still a game. After this, the game Rook takes, Knight G3. He's already bound down, but it's even worse than that because it's Black to play and win now. Tactical shot.
Queen F4 looks really good to me.
Queen F4, Rook takes C3.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that doesn't work. Looking at Rook takes F3 is interesting. Rook takes F3. King takes F3. I don't know. maybe it doesn't quite work. I'm trying to get that fork in there. Queen takes g3, king takes g3, and then knight e4. But he can just take on e4.
Can he though? Queen takes a g3. King
No,
takes knight 4.
no. I was looking at rook takes f3, king takes f3.
Oh,
Yeah, I was looking at that. If I take g3 right away and then knight e4, and then oh sorry, not fe. I mean the rook takes e6.
wait, how does?
Sorry.
it go?
So I was just looking at queen takes g3, king takes g3, knight e4 check.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Okay, and so then I win a knight there at least. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the point. Queen takes g3, king takes, and the fork. And well, now he threw in the towel. It's just a piece.
He really got slaughtered in this game. Like his position just. What was he opening?
Was really. I don't really know. It looks like it really looks like an IMSO Indian to me.
Geez.
I mean,
he just got slaughtered.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to imagine because this structure is quite typical in the IMSO and also in some Queen's Gambit. He was practically the one who discovered these ideas of f3, e3, and then pushing e4, but things got
out of hand.
Really off hand here. And, the things didn't go well. This king is too weak here. I mean, that famous game he wins against Capablanca had this same structure, but well, some things were a bit different, of course. Capablanca started pushing the queenside pawns, and then e4, e5, f4 was really strong. There's also a game against Lichess in the Queen's Gambit defense. It's in the Queen's Gambit, the exchange variation, where he introduces this plan with f3-4, and he completely dominates squares in that game. But this one was horrible for him. There are other attempts for white, but all of them are really sad. For example, rookie one, which looks so natural at defensive 3. It's kind of the same. G5, knight d3, queen h2. Now it's really hard to defend against this, if possible at all. It doesn't seem to be possible. Everything seems like a problem. You gave a very good idea here with d takes c5. You were spot on. This is the move of a modern player, definitely. I mean, it was hard for them at the time to come up with an original solution like this, because you're destroying your own pawn structure, as you said, but you have immediate counterplay against the center. So you're kind of distracting black from his attack on the king side. Now you have two ways of taking. What would you do after queen takes c5?
Yeah, I didn't even consider that. I just assumed he's going to take with the pawn. Queen takes. Okay. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even think of that.
It's not the most challenging, so not a big problem.
I'm wondering if we can just centralize the queen, maybe just queen d5.
Yeah, that's the point. You have a nice central square. This square compensates for the broken pawn structure, definitely. That and that this pawn is isolated. After queen takes, queen d4, you're just fine. I mean, the rooks are coming to the center. This one is coming to c1, d1, depending on what happens. yeah, you're basically fine here. Incredibly, the position changed a lot in just what, 2 moves. For example, Queen C7 with the idea of keeping some pressure on the C file, you can just play C4, and after the exchanges on C4, then again the rooks come to the center and you have no problems. So quite a remarkable idea, this D takes. B takes is the other option, and now you have a couple of ways of equalizing easily, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking even possibly bishop b5 um, looks decent.
Bishop b5.
Yeah, what's the idea of then playing rook d1 so that the bishop can't defend on c6?
Oh. Bishop b5. I'm thinking that we probably have to. I don't know if I should allow the trade or if I should go to f5.
Yeah, and then I was going to go rook d1 if when the bishop moves. So
yeah, then probably queen e5 to keep you tied to the pawn. And this structure is still favorable for black.
Could I go knight d3 there then?
Knight d3 after that. Yeah, you probably can. I probably have to go back, but to c7 or to d6. Most likely to c7. There still seems to be some pressure there. There's also this, of course. There's also the queen on e5 to h2. That can be a thing. I mean, if we leave the structure as it is and black gets to keep pressing, then we might be in trouble anyway.
Okay, well then c4. Liquidate the c-pawn.
c4, yeah. And it has to be a shot at d5 immediately. Otherwise, yeah, I'm even thinking that this might encounter, for example, g5, which can be really scary, to be honest. I don't know if it works right now, but even something like we saw bishop f5, you still have kind of the same problems if you don't apply enough pressure on d5 quickly. But yeah, c4 is an equalizer. It's a great move. Rook d1 is coming anyway, so if d4, you can take, and then rook d1, and he doesn't get to defend d4. He just drops the pawn. And otherwise, I don't know. He has to go bishop c6, I guess, rook d1. Yeah, you're basically off the hook. Yeah, you're quite okay here. There are even options right now. e4 is another equalizer, but you have to see some stuff. What happens after rook takes e4?
I guess we go knight e4. Sorry, knight d5. Knight d5.
Excellent. Not an easy move to see in advance, but it's a key move. It's a complete equalizer. For example, bishop c6, white plays this really nice move that just liquidates everything. Rook e1. It seems crazy because there's still rook takes e1, but now what?
I'm just wondering if we take on f6 first. Queen takes, and we just take on e1.
Yeah, this is the point. The intermediate move. Then you take, And it's true, there are still some holes, but black has no pieces to take advantage of the dark squares anymore. And other than that, it's just very simplified position now, and a draw with decent play. This is not dangerous anymore. So as you see, the starting position is really hard to handle. I mean, it's really easy to go wrong. I mean, Botvinnik just he went down in flames in what 6 moves during the game. Hey, be careful, watch out. You're going to lose if you don't pay attention. But that's kind of what we want to develop with this sort of exercises, a sense of danger. Because, well, sometimes in the game we just go a bit too far. And if you, I mean, working on tactics is important, but you see that in exercises, you usually have the initiative. You're the one who has to bring it to your opponent and then just win the game and concentrate on the attack. This makes you look at things from different perspective. It's a complicated position where you still have chances, but you have to find a narrow path to keep fighting. That's quite a common occurrence in games. I mean, in practical games. Sometimes you're just in a difficult position and you have to keep playing solid moves and or find some specific way of creating counterplay. So this sort of exercises from time to time are good. I mean, it's good to try to focus on these problems from many perspectives. These, if regular puzzles give you a sense of the initiative and you in calculation, this also helps in calculation, but it also makes you concentrate more on your opponent's threats and ideas than in your particular ideas. That I guess is the main point. If you have time, we can take a look at another one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
I'm
sorry.
Ooh, the connection is failing here.
I thought I had put it. I'm sorry, it froze there for a bit.
Okay. Oh, it's a computer issue, I guess.
Oh.
So is okay. I stay in the same study, right? Lessons 2.
I will add it there.
Okay.
Okay. You're going to see the annotations in Spanish.
Okay.
I thought I had this one in English too, but we're going to go through it anyway. This time is Botvinnik cutoff, and this is cutoff Botvinnik, the rematch. Okay, here it is. Well, in fact, no, this cutoff Botvinnik game is from an earlier date. I bet that the game we just saw was much more painful. I'm sorry. I should put it as Kainet's moves. Can you see the moves?
No.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Well, again, a tough situation. It's white to move. His pieces are again a bit off. they're on the queen side. Black's attacking perspective are looking quite bright. I mean, bishop h3 is well, the first threat we can spot. And yeah. Kotov failed to defend here. So this goes to show that these positions are tough for anyone.
Okay, so let me think. So I'm just looking at Black's immediate threats here. I'm actually, I don't, honestly, I'm not that scared as white right here, but yeah, there's bishop h3. That's the most obvious, but yeah, there's no, you know what an interesting idea is? Rook a6 is, it's interesting.
This jump is the thing.
Yeah.
In some variations, it's a problem.
Yeah.
There's one more direct threat other than bishop h3, which is also a threat right now. There is another one.
Oh, well, there's also bishop b5.
Yeah. So plenty of stuff to be careful about. So now that we know the threats, well, we have to do something about it. We should look for some ideas too.
Oh man, yeah, that's tricky because that bishop, it's hard to defend both bishop b5 and bishop h3. I almost want to just give the exchange, you know, and be done with it, you know. So I guess one of the most obvious moves here might be queen takes c7. So we probably have to look at that first. Directly defending h2. Well, not h2, but I mean being able to go to g3 rather. Sorry, wait. That doesn't even. Sorry, I thought queen c7 was defending the bishop on h3 threat, but it's not. But let's look at it anyways. Queen takes c7, because we will be attacking the bishop. So, but bishop h3. Yeah, no, queen c7 just looks like nothing to me. I don't think that's a move.
Yeah, sadly it's losing after bishop h3.
Yeah.
It's funny because, well, this is the only move, and then black doesn't even need to take the exchange. He can play queen d5, which is terribly strong. You're threatening this, you're threatening some jumps by the knight followed by queen g2.
Yeah, I didn't even consider g3 because to me it's just it's just
too much.
Yeah, those light squares are, and we don't have a light squared bishop, so yeah. Okay, so I don't know if we can't. I mean, these two squares, I don't even know if we can actually defend against them both. So I'm wondering if we probably need some counterplay, some counter threat. Wait a second. Oh wait, that doesn't work. I was just thinking maybe knight d4, but knight d4, bishop h3 still comes. Yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah, you prevent one of them, but not the
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, maybe we could do something on f3, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, and you also have this after you play knight d4. There are also
Yeah.
other ways of winning this.
Interesting. I mean, I'm trying not to play f4 because we've that was like our first lesson. So I'm trying not to play. I'm trying not to play f4.
I ask you about one variation, which is quite interesting and crucial. What about queen d4?
Yeah,
Attack the
I didn't.
bishop?
Yeah, I didn't say anything, but I did look at that briefly, and yeah. Sorry, when I was quiet, that's what I was looking at. But then after bishop h3, I didn't know what we were doing, and I couldn't. Oh, I guess I could take on g7.
That's the idea. We only have to see how that turns out. Queen takes
Yeah,
g7,
but
queen takes g7, bishop takes g7.
yeah, and then king takes g7, and then take on h3. But our pawns are terrible there.
Yeah, but still,
We win a pawn.
yeah. The thing is, there's an intermediate move you're not considering there. Queen d4, bishop h3, queen takes g7, queen takes g7, bishop takes g7. This doesn't work for white because black has a very strong move at that point.
After bishop takes g7.
Yeah, there's a very strong intermediate move that. Yeah, that wins a piece basically.
Wait. Queen d4, bishop h3, queen takes g7, queen takes g7, bishop takes g7. Oh, I guess there is. Okay, yeah. Then there's bishop takes g2.
Well, in that case, you don't win a piece. I take on g2 and you take on g7, and we're equal
Equal.
in
Yeah,
material.
yeah.
Yeah.
But stronger than that even. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
then
version is
there is we go after another piece. So we go bishop e6.
excellent. Yeah, this retreat is very strong. Then there are two pieces under attack, the knight on b3 and bishop g7. And yeah, you end up losing a piece. I mean, the idea of queen takes g7 is very nice, but yeah, it fails to this retreat. But yeah, at least you know you have this resource of building up a battery on the a1 hi diagonal, which is a source of potential counterplay in some variations, maybe. But yeah, it just doesn't work right away. So yeah, white has to introduce that idea somehow.
I'm looking now if we can play knight c4, bishop h3. Sorry, knight c5, bishop h3, and then g3. Wait a second. No,
Sorry,
wait.
on knight c5,
Oh, sorry,
the
sorry.
knight
Yeah,
is
I for some reason I thought the knight was we could just take the knight. Okay. Um, yeah, this is it. This is a hard move to find. I get it. Uh,
Top didn't find it, and
mm, mm.
he was the one that invented the Kotov technique for calculating
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
He couldn't come up with the right move anyway. The possibility of, I don't know, bringing the rook out of the way. I mean, if all the more desirable alternatives, I mean, the most forcing ones like Queen d4, for example, fail, at some point you might look for something like this. In this case, the attack is just um, really strong, apparently. That's the only problem. Rook fe1, bishop h3, and on queen f1, I mean, if you don't want to
Um,
touch the pawn structure, which makes sense.
mhm.
Then rook a6 is very strong. Apparently, the attack is just, and it's hard to prove that it wins outright, but you don't probably want to test this in the game. um, so yeah, White found a move that he didn't find it. He needed to find a move that creates counterplay.
Oh man, it's so hard. I'm really looking.
This idea of queen d4 would be nice if the queen wasn't defending g7.
And one move I've been looking at, but I don't think it works. Is rook a d1, because again there's well both the black strats remain. Oh, all three of them remain, but yeah, there's still bishop b5 might not be as strong anymore, although it probably still is. Yeah, so even just bishop b5 just still works. So that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Again, there was f4, but I just these days I don't even really consider that a move anymore. Like it stung me so many times in the past. Um,
Mm.
I I mean, yeah, I think he just moves his queen back, and there's no harm, no foul for him. He just goes queen g6. If we go f4, just queen g6, um, and he's fine there.
Well, that happened in the game actually. F4 is the move Kotor made, but yeah, it's too big a concession and the attack just remains.
Mm-hmm.
He sits, and now he makes a mistake, but he was in a tough spot anyway. Um, he plays rook fd1 here, and Botvinnik really punished him with a surprising move. He played knight to d6 because now the bishop is going to c6 if you take on c7. Then bishop c6, and this is just yeah, too much apparently.
Mm-hmm.
um, so the game was queen d3, but anyway, it's just a party for the black pieces uh, on the light squares. Apparently, it was even stronger to play bishop to h3 because there's not really a way of defending g2 properly because you don't have this because of 94. But still, it was. It's a really bad decision from White, and it shows how difficult the position was even for Kotov, because if he goes this way, it's clear that he was struggling. There's another move with a similar idea. You want to deflect that queen. You don't want that queen to be defending g7 anymore.
You know, yeah, I mean, it's h4, which I briefly considered before, but I thought that, again, there's just like queen g6.
Yeah, but now there's a very nice point. Now h4 gives us an extra defensive resource after queen g6. It's really hard to find, but now thanks to h4, now we have an extra square that helps us defend g2 in time. It's probably what Kotov missed anyway.
An extra square.
We couldn't go back
you don't want king h2.
We're not in time to play king h2, but one of our problems was that we couldn't bring the queen back to g3. But now we have an extra square for the queen.
Oh, so if we take on c7 now, we can go into h2.
Yeah, a very hidden point to the move, which is quite impressive. I mean, if queen g6, queen takes c7, and now there's no bishop h3. Actually, with queen h2, you defend and you attack the bishop, so everything's covered.
That's
and
a tough move.
Yeah, the whole conception is quite hard to, to spot.
Yeah, and if queen takes, then I guess just f3.
F3. Can we play f3?
Or
right
maybe knight d2. Maybe no, not knight d2. Yeah, maybe f3. Knight. Yeah, f3. I think. Oh, I wonder about again rook a3. f3, rook a3 might be a problem.
Rook a6. We may have something similar to variation I put down here. Maybe bishop e6 so that we hit this knight too. Yeah, that might.
And then
queen. Be the idea. F3, bishop e6.
Oh, maybe yeah.
You still have this queen d4, but then he goes queen f6.
I'm just trying to understand what the plan here is. If queen takes h4. I wonder if we can go queen takes g7. No, he's got knight f6 at the end of that. No, wait, he can't. Yeah, what about bishop g7? Oh, sorry, I guess queen. No, yeah, queen could go to f6 though. Okay, doesn't work. Like queen takes g7, queen f6. Yeah. My plan was to go queen d4. That was. Yeah. Okay. So Yeah. Okay. So just queen d4.
Yeah, queen d4. This move is it's quite important. I mean, it's very forcing. So in order not to lose a piece, black needs to find an only move here. Otherwise, he can't deal with both.
I guess he can play queen f6.
Yeah, only move. And now, I mean, this had to be foreseen. It's quite hard, but White's next move is crucial. Otherwise, he's just a pawn down. And the next move is why actually h4 works in the end.
Oh, I think we can take on e4. Yeah, because then we have a desperado taking on e8.
Yeah, queen takes c4 lets you recover the pawn. In all the variations, actually. Rook takes, you have bishop takes, if pawn takes, now how do you recover the pawn?
Yeah, knight c5, and then we can take on b7.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the point. So yeah, queen takes c4 recovers the pawn incredibly. And if queen takes b2, you can just take on b7, which is quite incredible, but the queen is not dangerous because you have queen takes c7 and the bishop is always attacked in any case. And if bishop b6, you can just go to c5 and the queen is defended. So yeah, that was the whole point of h4. I mean, at least you had to see queen takes c4 and queen takes b2 that you could take here. That's why h4 is so hard to find in the end.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know how long he spent on the clock on this move, because this is a hard position.
Yeah, and he went wrong actually. He couldn't find the saving move over the board. But in any case, even I think the prior exercise might have been easier from a tactical point of view because this one is quite deep. But it was tough from a positional perspective. I mean, that you had to overcome this fear of getting ugly pawns and realizing that you absolutely had to create counterplay against the center because you were in terrible danger. Well, in the end, it actually worked. And this one, you had to calculate really accurately and quite tough variations, to be honest. But you see that you get to h4 kind of, discarding the other lines. The other lines just lose so easily, or you just get so bad positions that you end up trying to deflect the queen from g7 because you spot this resource to play queen d4. But yeah, in the end, you can keep the balance, but it's in this case it's quite tough. But yeah, trying to solve these sort of exercises is what gives you toughness to to overcome tough situations like this. Yeah, from time to time it makes sense to do it.
Okay, and if I can just recap that game of mine, if I can find it, just so I don't forget, chapter 55. So I think there were I mean, there was the big issue was really this D5 move. That was the number one issue. But then there were a couple of there were a couple of chances to minimize the damage. I would say. So
Yeah, D5 is a position mistake in this structure.
yeah, and again, it was
Other
because
than that, it's not. Yeah, this is one of those things that either you know them or you don't. I mean, you can't. No one can see that far to say, okay, this is going to bring me trouble because 95. If you don't know it exactly, anyone can fall for it.
so from
Related
experience, yeah,
to
that's when you get burned enough times, then you learn.
exactly that's how. I mean, you have to suffer the structure to realize that it's a problem. Uh, but
And
yeah,
then
there's no way you can.
yeah, and then there were a couple of opportunities. I'm trying to remember where they were. Where Black had chances again to minimize the damage. This might have
Yeah,
been one
I
of
think the main
them.
one
Might have been here. Was it here? No, because
after
the
H6 probably
oh yeah,
initially.
because the bishop can still go back right now. Um,
Yeah, here you play A4 and then you play H6. And yeah, after
yeah,
bishop H4,
yeah.
you might want to go knight H5. It
Uh,
might be
there,
tougher.
yeah, I thought there was something else too. It, maybe it was later in the game, but I thought there was another. I don't think it was earlier. I don't.
Yeah, I think after his knight F3 mainly, I think that was a nice chance to put a knight on E4 as you as you generally want in this in these situations.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, he was even further into the game.
oh, it's the other
And
night.
here
So he
you
bought both
play.
nights there. Okay. Uh,
Now there were some repetitions, and yeah, and the other knight had a chance to jump. Yeah, move 21. Here he plays
yeah.
knight F3. Here it is.
Uh,
Now this is
that
much
was my
nicer.
yeah. I had a chance there too. Yeah. So those were kind of the three things. So D5 was just set me up for a hard game, and then these two other moves.
Yeah.
I had knight H5 to I think help help equalize and knight E4 starting to give white some annoyances. Fighting back,
You
not.
know,
Mhm.
yeah, but I think the main mistake comes here because you still have counterplay after his inaccuracies and the fact that he played this B3, giving you a target on C3.
You know, this kind of
Yeah,
reminds me.
here,
Um, I think it was the previous lesson from 2 or 3 days ago, where sometimes the best move is to do nothing. Just kind of wait. Like I think I might have been overreacting a little bit, or not overreacting, but trying a bit too hard to push back instead of maybe being a little more patient.
yeah, and now you can afford to be more patient because you can create counterplay by normal means against this pawn. So yeah, it was a good time to try to get something going on the queen side without uh, weakening the king so much with f6. Um, but yeah, some calculations are still needed here. The thing is, what might be a bit confusing is the fact that many minor pieces were traded. So one might feel, okay, my king is a bit safer now because there are not so many knights and bishops lurking around, around my king. But yeah, the heavy pieces are still there. This diagonal is still a problem. And yeah, if you play f6, the light squares are a big problem from then on. And especially since he's in perfect coordination to play rook e1 right away and gang up on your pawn. um, but yeah, this was a failure of the sense of danger. at this point in the game.
Mm.
It was a shame because you were really improving your position little by little at this point.
Yeah.
And your opponent really didn't have this in his arsenal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was in his plans, but yeah. This position made me remember about that opening game with the seats and the possible invasion of G6 and H7. It really reminded me of that one.
Yeah, I sometimes when I get attacked like here and I'm getting pressured and yeah, I feel uncomfortable and I want to yeah it's hard to endeavor the attack, it's psychologically hard to just let that beat on me. But F6 F6 is obviously bad. Like I'm not like it looks terrible to me. Like it's not a question. It's not like, but I still made the move anyways, which is funny. Even though I felt at the time that this is probably bad, but I still played it. So I still need to work on that.
Yeah, it's incredible that that's an unusual problem, but it is very common to spot a move and think about it as, oh, that's really bad, and play it anyway. It happens to everyone. It's hard to explain why, but yeah, we all get into that panic mode from time to time and make a move that we consider that is going to bring us trouble. It's funny, but yeah, that's how our mind works.
Yeah, I think if I had the same time as my opponent here, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't play F6. So I think part of it was I think part of it was the time pressure. But still, F6 was really bad.
You think I have to do something or else I'm going to lose the game because of the game or on time. So you want some clarity.
And maybe I thought, okay, I'll take a bit of a chance here because I'm already losing. So so it was just maybe a little bit of a poorly calculated risk there. Okay, well, Alessandro, thank you very much again. I'm going to play some more games and see how that goes. I repaired my blitz rating a little bit, but I still have a lot more work to do. But I'll get there. I'm not afraid of hard work.
For sure, yeah. Remember that dropping in the rankings in online chess is just so common. it happens to all of us from time to time, and there are periods of time where things don't seem to pick up, but they do. In the end, they always do, as long as you keep working. You're always working on your chess. I know that, so you're going to be just fine.
Okay, yeah. Thanks again, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.